The honorary degree will now be conferred. I am pleased to welcome Dr. Paul Dutton to present the honorary degree candidate, Ray Spaxman. Paul Dutton is the Jack and Nancy Farley University Professor in History, a Fellow of the Royal Society of Canada, and a longtime member of the Humanities Department, where he teaches courses on the Middle Ages, Western civilization, and the invention of the book. Dr. Dutton.
I think you're supposed to stand to my right. Mr. Chancellor, at the very root of the word civilization is city. Few have done as much here and abroad to make cities more livable, human, and civilized than Ray Spaxman, whom I'm pleased to present to you today. As Vancouver's Director of Planning between 1973 and 1989, Ray Spaxman was central to what has been called the downtown renaissance of Vancouver. The population of the city was rapidly rising when Ray Spaxman's discretionary planning approach encouraged public and community participation in the planning process. He worked with neighborhoods and developers to achieve sustainable goals and long-term benefits for the city and its residents. The Spaxman model for mixed-use development that balanced high population densities with green spaces, commercial life, and a dynamic street presence. Ray Spaxman thought in terms of sustainable and dynamic neighborhoods, the very essence of a vibrant city life. After leaving the Director of Planning position, he established his own company, the Spaxman Consulting Group, that has advised on such projects as the Gastown Heritage Management Plan, the city's high building policies, the Canada Line and Evergreen transit routes, and the creation of the planning agencies of the Emirate of Abu Dhabi. There's hardly an area of Vancouver's city plan that has not benefited from his sage advice and practical wisdom. Simon Fraser University has enjoyed his advice and service. He was, for a critical 5 years, the director and board member of Burnaby Mountain Communities Corporation, which oversaw the creation of the UniverCity development, which has brought a residential presence and lively community life to a university that once was thought to be but a commuter campus. Ray Spaxman's contributions to urban planning around the world and to Greater Vancouver have been widely hailed. He is a Fellow of the Canadian Institute of Planners, and in 2007 was honored along with Larry Beasley and Anne McAfee by the Massachusetts Institute of Technology for his groundbreaking advances in urban planning, and by Simon Fraser University with a Chancellor's Distinguished Service Award for his many contributions to British Columbia. His accomplishments are many and touch those of us in Greater Vancouver and on Burnaby Mountain daily as we walk, live, and delight in the neighborhoods and cities he thought of long before we came to live in them. He shaped our urban lives, and for that we owe him our highest praise and deepest gratitude. Mr. Chancellor, on behalf of the Senate of the University, I would ask you now to confer upon Ray Spaxman the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa.
Ray Spaxman, by virtue of the authority vested in me and in the Senate of this university, I hereby admit you to the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa. Dr. Spaxman will be hooded by Dr. John Driver, Vice President Academic, and Dr. Kate Ross, Registrar.
It is with pleasure that I now call on Dr. Ray Spaxman for his convocation address. Dr. Spaxman.
Mr. Chancellor, Mr. President, members of the Board of Governors and Senate, honoured guests, graduates and friends. I wish first of all to thank those who have invited me here to receive this great honour. Thank you. I also want to acknowledge and thank the many people, my family, friends and colleagues who have, with their continuing support, enabled me to be at this ceremony and share the honour bestowed. At this moment, I will vary from my prepared text because of the tragic events of last night, and especially because of the nature of the recognition I am receiving here today. Somehow, today has come with a shocking revelation about the nature of our city. It has brought a renewed need to reflect on our progress as a community and an urgent necessity to review what our individual roles must be in the future. On this day, when so many of us are celebrating our achievements, it is a good time to pause and wonder, where are we now in our lives? How well are we doing? How well are we contributing to the health and well-being of our community? What does this well mean? Last night shows that our community is not perfectly well. We will have once again to determine the causes and find the remedies. My own work has been all about the city, the place where humans have settled. A city is the most complicated place there is. It is, first of all, a place that sits on the earth, on the ground, in the different and changing climates among the creatures of the earth. Yet it is a place that has emerged and continues to emerge from the collective and complex activities of human beings. We know that our understanding of the city must acknowledge and continually seek the balance needed between the environment, the economic and social components that make up the city. Our world is dominated by the natural environment, occupied by an ever-increasing number of human beings, and is undergoing constant social, economic, and environmental change from the interplay between humans and this infinite place where we find ourselves. Finding ourselves here is an interesting experience in itself. When I was younger, I learnt about and thought I understood the various shifts that humankind had experienced through so-called agricultural, industrial, and information revolutions to where we are today. I remember my father telling me in the 60s that things had become too complicated, that he didn't envy me my future, for it seemed too complex, the challenges too many. Today, I am cautiously aware of the many shifts that are occurring and that will have enormous impact on the shapes and functions of our cities. The shifts occurring in response to global warming, climate change, continuing exploitation of natural resource, population growth, and longevity are awesome. These shifts are both more understandable, but also more complicated because of technological advances, such as computerization, globalization, advances in communications, and what must be the inevitable redefinitions of capitalism and democracy itself. These days, I see my student friends and my grandchildren and reflect on my father's words and sense, especially that the reality of last night's tragic events, how easy it is for me to feel the same way about your futures. Yet, that is not the case. I see in you the energy, enthusiasm, and positivism that have always engaged humans with a desire and ability to respond to the forces of change. There is no doubt that many of the responses we need are different from earlier practices, but I am encouraged by those of you that I meet that you are asking the right questions and searching for solutions in principled ways and in ways that will ensure that yes, you are better than you were yesterday, and yes, you will continue to make a worthwhile contribution to the future of our community. Thank you, and best wishes to all.
Thank you, Dr. Spaxman.